Ahoy there, fellow travelers. Welcome to E-Travels with E-Trules, a personal and literary podcast of travel adventures and misadventures from around the world. This is Eric Trules, and thanks for listening. I want to start off this episode with a shout-out to all my new subscribers on iTunes. It's exciting and humbling. I really appreciate your listening to the podcast, rating and reviewing it. And so does my producer, Harry, and my creative team, Alicia and Amanda. Sitting in the studio and in front of our own computer screens is fun, indeed. But having an audience for these stories is why we do it. Please continue to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Tell your friends, and let's see if we can get you on the show in one of our behind-the-scenes bi-weekly episodes. It's clear that there are a lot of travelers out there, both virtual and real. And like I've said before, it's a big world and an interconnected planet, and no one person can see it all. Still, the obvious question is, why travel? And that's the name of this episode. E-Travels with E-Trules. Why travel? August 2007. Nanjing, China. Travel is an amazing elixir, enticing, adventurous, mind-altering, even addicting, because travel expands your consciousness, stretches your horizons, disrupts your habitual behavior. It broadens your perspective, refreshes your worldview, and hopefully even cures your myopia. Especially for nearsighted Americans, who for far too long have believed that their country has been the center of the universe, which particularly in the 21st century is becoming less and less true. But that's why closed-minded American tourists stay at the Holiday Inn or the Sheraton International. They eat McDonald's and pizza all over the planet, and they travel in hordes, group tours to Europe, to China, to the Amazon, to the African Serengeti. Contrarily, open-minded and curious travelers, not tourists, taste new foods, listen to different political ideas, see and hear new forms of dance, language, economics, medicine, geography, and culture. And for me, personally, although very oddly, I admit, individual travel in its best and most surprising incarnation is also something like chemotherapy. Not the pain or the nausea or vomiting, but the up and down roller coaster ride that a life-threatening illness usually is, at least for me. And I should know, I had Hodgkin's disease, cancer of the lymphatic system in 1988. It was a wild and woolly ride, both eye-opening and healing, unpredictable and transformational, like travel. I never knew what to expect, whether I'd live or die. I had to learn to live in the moment and to stay open to mood swings, erratic pains, to the fear of death, to luck and happenstance. I had to be open to accident and incident, to synchronicity. Not that it was easy or is easy, cancer or travel. Vacation? Sure, usually organized and easy. Ecotourism with a guide? Yep, easy most of the time. But independent travel? No, because sometimes, many times, you get derailed or confused, like which train to take on which day, which hotel or flop house to stay at, where to eat, how to get home in the taxi when the driver doesn't speak a word of English, when to leave one town and go to the next, what to do when you're totally lost and sloshing ankle deep in the thundering rain, when to call it quits on pushing ahead, or when to splurge on a nice hotel for some much-needed R&R. Travel, like life, is about making choices and then rolling with the punches. Swinging at the curveballs life throws your way. It's just that with travel, the curves are harder, the punches less predictable, and sometimes you just have to laugh when you strike out, lose your passport, or end up on your ass. Swinging and rolling in China has been fun. It's been a good trip so far. I've been open to accidents and incidents, right from the very start. Like when we landed in Beijing after an 18-hour nonstop flight. We're supposed to be greeted at the airport by Chen Lin from the LDTX Beijing Modern Dance Company, where I'll be teaching in a few days. But as accident would have it, neither Surya or I see any trules sign when we come out of the baggage claim. She says, let's just take a cab. But I'm thinking this Chen Lin dude is supposed to meet us here. I got the email, what if he comes and we aren't here? So I decide, right on the spot against all travel book advice, to buy a SIM card for my smartphone right here in the Beijing airport. A little spontaneous travel ingenuity. And sure, the guidebook is right. I pay an extra 100 yuan more than I would in town. But now I have a new phone number to call Chen Lin. And sure enough, he is at the airport, down the way at Terminal B, not Terminal A where we are. But he's been waiting for us with his friend Helen. Of course, that's not her real name, but here they are, both so young and enthusiastic, smiling and so happy to see us. Of course, Chen Lin doesn't actually have a car to pick us up. He's taking a taxi. Okay, travel says right off the bat, let go of your expectations. So, I do. We taxi together to Dongchang, the neighborhood in the center of this huge city where I've booked a budget hotel from the internet. It's called the New Dragon, and it's a bad idea. Too much pre-planning, travel says. Turns out that the sexy red Chinese lanterns are still there like in the internet photos, but the New Dragon doesn't even have our reservation. And the room they offer us as consolation is decorated with garish green whorehouse couches. It's flooded with water and it smells like the last typhoon's moldy sheets. Travel, that jackal trickster, is having her first good laugh at my expense. Improvise, she says to me, and so I do. I decide to forfeit our deposit and have Chen Lin take us to another hotel, the one where he usually brings the dance company guests, near the dance studio, also in Dongchang. What do I know? Trust, travel says. So, I do. We arrive at the Huafeng Hotel, and Chen Lin insists on paying for the taxi. Little financial perk travel throws her away. Sadly, though, the Huafeng has no red Chinese lanterns. But at least it's clean, has air conditioning, and it sells local Qingdao beer, my favorite. A definite shout-out from my good travel companion, Dumb Luck. Travel continues her lessons in humility as I start teaching improvisation to this spectacular company of Beijing modern dancers, none of whom speak any English. That is no more than hello, good morning, and first position. I mean, why did the artistic director, Mr. Cao, who I've never even met except on the internet, invite me to teach the company? There must be a reason, right? Fate? Coincidence? Maybe magic? Who knows? The first day, I watched the 7-man, 7-woman dance company take class with another guest teacher. Their Joffrey-like technique is daunting. What can I teach them? I haven't danced in 35 years. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to have a hip replacement next spring. Figure it out, hotshot. Thanks a lot, Travel. I will. I decide to start by putting all of us on common ground. Since I can't remember any of their Chinese names, the dancers all choose new names for themselves. Simple, Americanized names. Honglin becomes Apple. Husan becomes Dragon. And then there's Candy, Boy, Money, Tutu, Titi, and Tiger. For real. Thank goodness for Tiger. He's the stage manager who takes class with the company, but he's also the only one who speaks fluent English. He's my interpreter, my salvation. Hey, maybe he's even Travel's messenger sent from the travel gods. After a week, though, we're all laughing together, learning a lot from each other, and we're having fun. Turns out that underneath all these serious perfection-driven Chinese dancers lie just a bunch of 20-year-old Chinese kids. And kids, like girls, Chinese or otherwise, just want to have fun. And if there's one thing that Trules knows about, it's how to have fun. At least in dance and theater classes. In real life, sure, I can be stubborn, demanding, and more than a little compulsive. But I'm traveling now. I'm swinging and rolling with the punches, going with the flow. I'm the 190-pound Gulliver amongst all these dancing Lilliputians, these flying and leaping Beijing balletophiles. Of course, at times, even Tiger doesn't understand what the hell I'm talking about, what I want the dancers to do. But fortunately, there's the international sign language of mime, of sound, of movement. And these talented Chinese dancers have been learning new styles and dance techniques since the age of 10. They are expert at it. So by the end of the second week, they've all really learned my wacky clown-style dance. They're making weird sounds and movements, making funny faces, taking risks, throwing their bodies into the air. It's fantastic. And on the last day, the entire company does a completely improvised half-hour performance, after which they all spontaneously lift me onto their collective and ex-communist shoulders and carry me out of the studio. A travel high? You betcha. And now I'm thinking about all these little accidents and incidents, how I just seem to be in the right place at the right time when I travel. Like how I was in Edinburgh in the Fringe Festival in 1988 when 3 out of the 5 people in the tiny audience seemed to be from the BBC. Or how in Bali in 2000 when I met my future-to-be wife in front of the local Kuta Beach ATM. Or like now in China 2007, how I go out for a little $1 Chinese breakfast to the local noodle shop. Because the 4-table joint is completely full, I sit next to a random Chinese dude. And just to be polite, I ask, "Do you speak English?" But the dude isn't even Chinese, he's Japanese. And he's studying around the corner at the most famous theater school in China. And why don't I come by and meet the Foreign Affairs Cultural Officer? So I do. And I do. And so it goes. You may be old in years, Travel reminds me, but you're still young at heart and in spirit. Just say yes to Travel's information. Keep an open mind, let go of your fears, and remember the ancient Chippewa saying, to travel is to dance. But tonight, I finally have to leave Beijing on a soft sleeper train hurtling 200 miles an hour to Nanjing in the south. I already miss Beijing, the imperial capital. I haven't even left. But it was my home for over 3 weeks. I miss the Huafeng Hotel. and the little dumpling shop around the corner. I especially miss the dancers. Candy and apple, dragon, and money. But now Surya's flown back to L.A. and Chen Lin has delivered me to the Beijing train station. It's huge and overcrowded. It makes New York's Grand Central Station look like a waiting room. Chen Lin and Helen are still both smiling and wheeling my trolley suitcase to another travel hall. I'm looking up at the neon signboard trying to figure out where the ET007 will speed its way to Nanjing. Yo, where you going? I look up to locate this distinctly New York accent, if you know what I mean. And there's a smiling dude in a New York Yankees baseball cap. Where you from, I grin, knowing a brother from my tribe when I see one. I think it's the nose. I'm from New York, he says. Brooklyn. You going to Shanghai, he asks. No, Nanjing, I say. No problem, same train, follow me. And so I do. As I'm sure he's just another guise that Trickster Travel has disguised himself on my journey. Glad you're along for the ride. Hope it's at least a little better than chemotherapy. Namaste from Nanjing. I know, wrong culture, but I like the alliteration. Love, still dancing, trules. Original music composed by Amanda Yamate, sound designed by Alicia Bermudez. Produced by Harry Duran at Fullcast. Please contact us with your feedback and to schedule an on-air interview. This podcast has been supported with the USC Capstone Grant. Special thanks to Phil Allen and the School of Dramatic Arts for their support.